can you please welcome, he's absolutely fantastic, can you please welcome Jack Stannard.
I've got to apologise, the poem I'm about to do isn't really politically motivated in any way, so sorry about that. But firstly, has anyone ever eaten the Chinese food in Camden? Yeah. Have you ever regretted it a bit? This one's essentially about that.
Let me drink.
Having gorged ourselves on vodka, coke, culture and awkwardness, the air hung heavy with politeness as I briefly considered the most direct route up your dress and the possibility of easy access. But my thoughts were emotionless, passionless and I must confess ever so slightly spineless. I considered the test of my testosterone, a test that I felt best left alone as I was far from the best dressed. I felt my drunken caress was unlikely to impress, so I suppressed the urge to undress, feeling that my testosterone was best expressed alone at home. As my stomach suppressed a low moan and my thoughts digressed to digesting, and the possibility of investing the quid 50 in my back pocket on something which seemed to me a touch more interesting. Tonight, no KFC for me, and I dethroned Burger King, Subway and Mackie D's could step aside please, because tonight I was in the mood for a Camden Chinese. Once I put 2 and 2 together, it was a foregone conclusion. Once I put 250 together, anything else was mere illusion. There was no confusion about my culinary intrusion. After an evening of mild boozing, it's only natural that I get some food in, but who'd have thought that I'd opt for an option associated with such sleaze? But I made an obvious statement when I called for a Camden Chinese. My intention, or lack thereof, made plain, stuck sticky in the air like a grease stain. I made myself plain when I called for a chicken chow mein, and you seemed at a loss for what to say as I approached the buffet, and whilst your offer of £1 was much appreciated, it was a sentiment that I could have easily masturbated away. A concept which struck my mind as I masticated, all concept of conjugal connection abated, and you realised that I intended to self-appease after I borrowed money for a Camden Chinese, and I sensed that you didn't really mind it. As there we sat, chewing the fat, me essentially shoveling shit into my mouth with a plastic fork, resembling a spastic stork trying to inhale noodles through his nose, while somehow managing to get little bits of chicken into every bodily orifice I could reach without removing any article of clothing. All pretense of sophistication fell to its knees as I splattered bystanders in Camden Chinese, and you must have guessed what I had planned by the deft distraction of my cutlery hand, intending to spend the rest of the evening exercising my forearms and the limits of my broadband connection. There'll be no amusing text to send to a friend. There'll be no "I'll see you again next weekend," as my sexual escapades have a tendency to follow a fairly non-existent trend. So I might not have minded heading back to hers for a quick squeeze, I thought, slightly regretting the Camden Chinese, and I caught a glimpse of myself in a darkened window glass, and I realised fast that any possible chance had passed as my face now resembled a baboon's arse, smeared with sauces originating in the Orient, and the odd speck of meat, of questionable content, and it was a bittersweet and sour victory for me, because ironically, I was never that interested really.